Hey, it's Roger Holloway with my good friend, Dr. Tom Benjamin. Hello there, sir.
Hello there, sir.
We're talking about church. We're talking about stories. We're talking about history. We're talking about legacy. And that's the name of the playlist on your YouTube channel, Dr. Tom Benjamin. Now, we've talked about, I have to ask my assistant.
Yeah. Okay.
Jack, the real estate dog, is right here. Arr, arr. But so my question is, we talked about the seminary side, then we talked about the practical side of going into ministry. Any interesting stories about church?
Well, yeah, look, it's not all, it's not all glorious. It's we give God all of the glory for everything that happens, and everything happens for a reason, and everything happens in a season. I told you that those first 7 years before we became light of the world, the second Christian journey was a learning journey for me. It was a journey of great growth and explosion of church in Indianapolis. But people really don't know some of the first year that I was there. It could discourage any minister if you wanted to be discouraged. We had a couple of incidents that happened violence in our society is nothing new. It needs to be dealt with, whether you're talking about, Rodney King or Tyrese Nichols or all that's in between. The issue is violence is still a part I will never forget as a new pastor. You have to understand.
And you're like in your 20s at this time, right?
Not wet behind the ears. And I'm sitting in my office, not really knowing what I'm doing, but in the first year learning. And the custodian comes in and tells me that someone has been, that one of our elders has been attacked on the parking lot. This was during the week. We had property around the church at that time, and he was the rent collector. And it was horrible. I mean, I came out, the man was almost dead, lying on the, that was number one. I had just been there a few months. Then, a few more months after that, the chairman of the board of our church, a very respected educator in the city, and a president of the NAACP, had been kidnapped at Sam's Subway parking lot on Meridian, a restaurant. Yeah, wow. After a board meeting at the church. And I'm like, hey, I just got here. Give me a break. I mean, what am I, so these kinds of things, though, remind us that ministry is real people, real events, and it's never quite the glamorous story that people try to paint. It's not that at all. It's the real deal. So, not to mention the funerals, the heartbreaks, the hospital visits, the holding hands of dying members. That's real ministry. And leading protests. I did a lot of that and stuff. In March with with nurses and workers and stuff. But it's all a part of it.
Very much Dr. King model doing that.
Yes. But anyway, you were trying
light of the world.
Yeah, light of the world. Light of the world. You are the light of the world. He is the light of the world. Remember, I mentioned in one of our segments that this whole thing with names and things is just kind of interesting. But Robert Schuller helped me. Robert Schuller, in case someone would not know who he is, he's passed now, but was a tremendous leader, church leader in California with a Christian.
He had come and told you, Tom, why do you call it Second Christian?
That's right. Yeah. And I said, well, because that's the name that I inherited, and that's what the name of the church has been. Now, the church had been, I will say this, so in case people start, getting a little, well, how do you, first of all, the Second Christian had been several other names in its history from 1866 to the present. It had gone through several names, but Second Christian is where what the name of it was when I got there. But the name change came as just an urging, as from something that Dr. Schuler said. His vision of the Crystal Cathedral, you would have to see that campus to understand what kind of thinking this man does. But when we pulled up to the church, when we were going to do the dedication on 38th Street, he said, Tom, I don't quite understand. Why do you call your church Second? I said, well, it's what I inherited. He said, well, you and your congregation are not second to anybody. Now, it just opened something in my spirit. And I said, well, that's a good point. And our tradition says Bible names for Bible things. What is this, second, third, sixth? Is that the best we can do with a name? And God dropped Light of the World into my spirit. And
what was the reaction from members and board and clergy, other clergy?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because many people think that was just my decision. I was just a leader in that decision.
Visionary.
Yeah. But you see, the whole issue of decision making for pastors, I just want to encourage someone out there this is the model that I use. I don't even know where I got it from, but the model is, I took polls constantly in my church. Now, this is what people don't know. They say, yeah, man, well, you know how he just, man, whatever he wants, he just goes on and just, no. It looks that way. Polls, before a decision is made, taking polls. So what did I do? God dropped that in my spirit as a major change. I knew it was going to be a major change. I probably talked to almost everybody in my church about what had happened, what Schuler had said to me, what I felt, what did they think? This is what God gave me as a name. What do you think? And I got, when it came to the vote, not one dissenting vote. Not one dissenting vote. That's
consensus.
Yeah. And
this might be a good time to mention
noise in the background. You know what that is? That tells me to change the subject. Okay, go ahead.
Well, what are some of the names? I mean, I was friends with you and worked with you through those years and recognize a lot of these names, but give us some of the notable people in that vision for heaven on earth, light of the world. Well, musicians, right? Teachers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but a lot of people. I mean, Schuler was really prominent in that. But R.T. Andrews, I don't know if you know, Mount Zion Baptist Church was way ahead for institutional church stuff. He was way ahead. This man didn't even go into the ministry until he was 55. And lived to be 90 something. But Mount Zion Baptist Church in Indianapolis had several senior living centers, had a preschool, had a credit union, I saw this, that was the first guy to let me preach in Indianapolis. And by the way, I used to sit with him in his home, because I was single when I was in seminary. And so, his wife, we would have meals and et cetera, et cetera. But I learned a lot from R.T. Andrews. And what I'm saying is that, yes, somebody just like that, somebody like Schuler, both one a Baptist, Black Baptist, the other, white on the other coast, learned a lot. So that helped me to shape some of what I thought a church institutionally ought to look like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you had internal people, like for instance, there was a famous Lamar, was it Campbell?
Yeah.
Was one of your worship leaders?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here, yeah, another little point. I had, again, but it's the leadership of the Holy Spirit leading me to the right people. I call it the dream team. I've had some unusual and blessed ministers of music. Music is very important in the church. And I'm, of course, right now I'm on a little personal, what I call hymn revival project, because, we've lost, it seems to me, the church has lost its love for hymns. So I'm constantly throwing out hymns on Facebook or wherever I can saying, do you remember these hymns? But the music is very important, very important. And so what did God do? Charles Clancy, who came from Chicago. This was at Second Christian. Charles Clancy, one of the maestros. I mean, Mahalia Jackson's accompanist, was our minister of music for almost 10 years. And on Kenwood, made a big difference. Now, I'm going to make a point about this. Then Walter Owens on 38th Street, very, very important. I mean, these guys, another Chicagoan, that's the kind of the cradle of that gospel music thing. But both of them were trained musicians, could do it all, could do Bach, Beethoven, and could do James Cleveland. So when the minister of music and the pastor are on the same page, the sky is the limit. There is a tremendous challenge for churches in this area. And it really comes from a heavenly vision. I mean, if you go back to Satan and his job in heaven as a musician, if you will, and his ego not allowing him to submit to God.
Pride.
Yeah. And you see what happened. He was kicked out. There's been a whole lot of ministers of music kicked out because they can't come together with the pastor. But
really, the pastor, in my opinion, the pastor is the main worship leader.
Yes.
So having one working with him or her that has the same vision is
sometimes
the key.
That minister of music or that musician wants to run with their own vision, and that doesn't work. And my best years were when we were on the same page with our ministers of music. Yes. Right.
Yeah. Who are some other names? I know you had a personal assistant that was very helpful in Alice Horde.
Yeah, it goes all. I had the dream team over the years. It just developed. Dr. Billy Bridges, Pinkston Bridges, a Mississippian educator, earned her doctorate degree at CTS, but was a super partner of mine, Christian education. Dr. Preston Adams.
Yes. A real true son, right? A real true son.
True son, born, bred, a part of my ministry for many, many, many years. Got his call in my ministry and went on and did great things. He operated one of our outreach programs called Project Impact. Impact ran the juvenile delinquent, the juvenile center school.
Yes.
And that was started by another one of my sons who now is in California, was the national director he's the founder of Project Impact, Matthew Harris. I don't know if
Matt and Mary, man. I love Matt and Mary Harris.
Yeah. And they're still my babies. They're right down the road here from us. And we are what we're road dogs. We still hang out, still travel together. And they're precious, precious, precious people.
They're precious to me.
Oral Roberts University came and worked with us they were on our staff for several years. And then he founded Project Impact. And
I'll just say on a personal note to me, Mary Harris, quite the worshiper herself. She came when I was just getting started, and she was kind. He was kind and helpful, and I appreciate that. Well, listen, we're about ready to wind up. I hope people will get that playlist and see the legacy all the way from Mama's Boy as a baby, your greatest influence, and talking about your greatest gift, Miss Bev, your wife of almost 60 years now, and going all the way through the formative years of your education and ministry. And we still have more to cover. So I hope people will.
We got to get to the city on the hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I hope people will subscribe to Bishop Tom Benjamin on YouTube. He plays around, dabbles over in that Facebook arena under Dr. Tom Benjamin, the Change Agent, and a great friend of mine for many, many years. And this has been fun, man.
Oh man, you don't know what a gift this has been.
Telling the story.
Yeah.
Well, to many people in the years ahead, and that's what we're trying to do is preserve the legacy. So,
but as fellow pastors, I want you to know that your name, your claim, your impact in Indianapolis is still there. I told you this, and you don't want to, but even on the Facebook thread where these videos have been shown, the comments are as much about you as they are about me. So this is a part of your story too, the Roger Holloway story. Yeah.
Well, going back to how the land passed through me to you from Butler, and all the way down back. Yeah. That's a great story in itself about how our lives are intertwined. God knows.
We'll hit that again just for a moment when we do our next time together.
Sounds good. All right, my friend. We'll see you in the next video.
All right, buddy. Peace.